Welcome. The Whisky School's back. We are doing the Whisky Advent Calendar. We're on day number 6. We're already on day number 6. And we've been through 5 already. So if you want to watch any of them, go back on YouTube, see what we've been tasting. Up until now, we have hit 3 sorry. We've been all over. Scotland, out to America, out to Japan, back to Scotland. We're back in Scotland again. We're seeing the theme of this. There's a lot of Scotch whisky being put into this. There's 25 of us decided to throw some bottles in together, and we ended up with just a random selection. But as you can see, we've been moving around. So bottle number 6, we're back into Scotland again, and we are hitting more peat. More peat it is, and if you can guess where that is, of course, the inspiration came from its Islay. And I say inspiration, this one's slightly different. We have the Lost Distillery. Now this company came about with the concept that they would look at old distilleries and see if they could recreate the flavour profile of what would have been that character for that distillery. And when I say old, this one is the Losset whisky, and this used to be one of the biggest illicit distilleries 200 years ago. And that's back when, customs were coming in, trying to, put taxes on. That's why we all obviously pay so high prices these days on whiskey. Taxes have to be paid. So back then, the illicit distilleries did not pay their taxes. Don't tell anyone. But they, on Islay, because it's so remote and difficult to access, and there's so many hidey holes, really. These little caves. You look at the Ardbegs; they've got a whole bunch of influences through some of their names on their whiskies, and just based on the illicit distilling. You've got the Dark Cove. There's so many different ones, but ultimately, these distilleries would hide barrels all over the island in these caves on the coast, and they would then ferry them across and hopefully not get caught, sell them to someone, and that whiskey would get thrown out into the market, the black market as we call it, I guess. And that's really the last kind of standing of where they were in the illicit distilling, and we've recreated this one through Lost Distillery. And those boys got together and came up with a really good idea, and I think this is going to be fun to try to see. So I'm expecting some sort of, and this is just without me really knowing, because it's Islay, I'm thinking we're going to have smoke in there. Most likely the peat's going to be involved there. That is the kind of characteristic of most of the majority of the Islay whiskies, because that's the local source of where they get their fuel from. They have peat fields roaming across their island, and you can go out there and actually cut some of the peat from the distillery to do that, and then that gets thrown in to malt the barley, and you get this lovely peated smoky whiskey. So that's what I'm expecting off of this. Everything else is going to be much a surprise. We expect the oak to come in there, that bourbon barrel, but because 200 years ago they weren't always maturing it as long in the barrels, so you expect maybe something that's a bit younger, so that's not as heavily influenced by the barrel. And you can see even just by the colour already that we've got a really light hay kind of colour whiskey, which tells me it's definitely going to be a younger whiskey, because back then they didn't age it as long. They were making it quick, storing it for a while, and then getting it sold. So they didn't want to get caught with all that whiskey, that contraband. So we've got this beautiful whiskey, and you'll see I am using a mason jar today. So we call it in Scotland a jam jar. That's where you put your jam or your jelly in, and put the lid on. Your mum will hand it to you to take to your friend's house or something. So we're going with a mason jar though. It sounds way better. And this one is a shorter mason jar. Lets me just smell it a little more. You know, getting that young smell coming off of it, which, you know, it's a lot of those kind of alcoholic ethanol smells. Is a little bit of sulfur, you know, coming off there. Not a bad thing. Like I do, you know, enjoy that, like extra heat, extra kick. A little bit of kind of sweet hay coming through. You know, vanilla's the usual that I'm expecting to smell off that. Let's have a wee bit kind of like peach or something going on there. I don't know. Let's taste it. I'm going to just let this one settle and go back to it because I can taste, you know, that hot forward alcohol. Again, expected if they're trying to recreate something that was done 200 years ago, that's what I'd expect of it. It's got a lot of that charcoal coming through, meaty charcoal, peaty, meaty, blah blah, how that rhymes. And that's what's coming through on this predominantly. That's what I'm really getting. Maybe a little bit of ginger spice at the end. Again, that kind of oak coming through. So for me, I'm thinking, you know, a one char barrel, so that there's more oak exposure. Might be wrong. I may have went ever, but I'm definitely getting a lot stronger on that. And that just kind of like what lingering finish, you know. Now this one, I would say, you know, you would put water into a little dabber like this would be perfect. I'll just show you that. Gift from my mother. Thanks, Mum. And this one is Angel Share, and I've kept this for, you know, since she gave it to me about 5 years ago. It goes in my little water jug that I got in Dundee, and by this little guy who did pottery in his backyard. And yeah, fantastic. Fill that out with water, throw in a drop, splash it in there, and then you can see how it's going to change. And you know, sometimes with those younger whiskies, a little bit of water helps them, just opens them up a little bit. You know, you're going to get a little more tartness coming out the back there, enhancing those kind of fruity flavours, dulling down those stronger flavours that come off the back end of the alcohol. So yeah, fantastic. Like, it really is great introduction to try and recreate something, you know, out of nothing, other than, you know, and we've talked about, you know, creating those flavour profiles through regions. So the lowlands, you know, those lighter notes, and then you move up into Speyside, you got those sweeter notes coming through, and then over into the Highlands you start getting those more piney, oaky flavours with a hint of smoke coming in. And as you get more and more to the coast, and that west coast of Scotland where Islay sits out, that's where, you know, you start getting those smokier flavours. So it's regions. So if you're looking to buy a bottle and you're thinking, right, I'm now starting to group regions here, think that's smoky, that's sweet, go with the base flavours. You can then just look just on the bottle and see, when it comes to Scotch, what region you're looking at and what you're generally going to get. And don't get me wrong, there's some that throw curveballs out there. You have no idea what they're going to do. And that, I guess, is, you know, is the gamble. But, you know, if you can go for their kind of their base level introductory, you know, the 10s or 12-year-olds, maybe they're not unnamed statement, which means there's no age statement going on there, it's just a name. Some of those are worth jumping into, giving them a shot, and just, you know, experimenting, I guess. But this one, Losset Distillery, definitely worth a shot. I would recommend it. To be honest, I recommend every whiskey out here. Whiskey is fun to just go through and try and experiment with, and if you really don't like it, you can throw it in a cocktail. Make up a new fancy cocktail, impress your friends. That's what I would say. But this one, yeah, drinker. And thanks. So, on that note, we're going to head on off. tomorrow we're back again, and we're moving along swiftly. We're day 7. It's a whole week of whiskey drinking so far. Certainly got more days ahead. We even get one on Christmas Day. Yes, we do. So we have really got quite a few. So if you want to know what's been drunk going forward, then hit us up, whiskyschoolus.com. Drop us an email and I will send the list out to you. You can follow. And then anything else, we'll see you on YouTube or Facebook and all those platforms. So thanks again. Talk to you tomorrow.